I welcome you to our second series in this course unit of Introduction to Early Childhood. As a reminder, in the first course unit, part 1 of this course unit, we did discuss what early childhood development is, the benefits of early childhood development to the individual, the child, to the family, to the community and the nation, and the objectives why early childhood development should be part and parcel of us. In the second and final course unit on early childhood development, I'm going, amongst others, to describe the different types of early childhood development provisions, what child abuse is. I'll also dive into other sectors of child protection, not forgetting that we shall look at the history of early childhood development within Uganda, and also I'll take you through the main figures that transformed early childhood development in this world of ours. Right. Let's start off types of early childhood development programs. The first category are what we call daycare centers. Daycare centers usually take up children either on half or full day, and particularly those ones below 3 years. Now, the daycare centers may be for profit or not for profit. For example, you'll have daycare centers within the parliament buildings or KCCA. These may not necessarily be for profit, but they provide an environment where care and protection is offered to the young ones, where there is infant stimulation, yes, based on positive adult and child interaction, as the mothers run around the day-to-day activities or resume work. The second type of ECD program provisions are the home-based ECD centers. These may operate within the home of an individual or who volunteers his or her home. The third category are the community-based ECD centers. The structures may be permanent, temporary, but what is very important, safe. And then the nursery schools, or call them the kindergartens, the pre-primary providers of education to the children, usually in the ranges of 3 to 6 years. They are run either by individual people, by non-governmental organizations. Groups of people come together and form kindergartens. It's a community might form a kindergarten, or some kindergarten are religious-based. Now, lower primary classes, that is P1 to P3, usually that is the official entry point for those that have completed the year 3 to year 6. In these lower primary classes, the curriculum is thematic and it emphasizes literacy, numeracy, and life skills. Let me take this opportunity to give you a history of early childhood development within Uganda. The traditional Ugandan society did provide a form of early childhood development. It was governed by the family and the community traditions and by the social systems within which the individuals lived. Now, each community tended to have its own education system in which the children socialized and were assisted to take up the culture, the values, and the traditions. The child's education system began right from birth through the various stages, through the various age groups, and it would get defined at each stage. Allow me to say that early childhood education transmitted the cultures, transmitted the values. For example, the value of sharing, the value of social responsibility, the value of belonging, the value of mutual dependence, the values of mutual respect, continuity, obedience, respect for elders, cooperation, fear of God, and ability to relate to others. Right away from infancy, children were taught with lullabies, with songs, with games. Mainly the mothers took a very central role here. Other caregivers, for example, the grandmothers, the aunties, and the older siblings, or older brothers and sisters, played a role. So usually when young ones were about to get to sleep, lullabies would be sung. Some of them that they had meanings behind them. So stories, legends were used to instill morals and to teach the community's history and tradition. Fathers, elders, and neighbors also participated in the education, particularly the socialization of older children. Grandparents played a very key role in teaching children sensitive topics relating to sexuality, passing on morals, values, history, and traditions, and they tended to do this through stories, legends, and conversations. Now, nursery education, or ECD, was brought by the British colonialists. So therefore, the beginning of pre-primary education can be traced back in the 1930s. It was initiated by the European missionaries, the Goans, and the Asians. These pre-primary schools were private and exclusively for the use of private communities. You see, the European working mothers wanted their children to be taken care of. They wanted them to be left at home, not with the Ugandan caregiver. So therefore, the father wanted that these young ones be prepared in the European system for them to get the basic skills so that when they go back to Europe, they can fit back in the community. Therefore, early childhood centers that were started with the Europeans, they intended that the children, when they are left home, they are not left home with these Ugandan caregivers. Two, they wanted that should they go back to Europe, the young ones can quickly adopt. Later on, the Ugandans and the Goans, within a mix of the Indians, copied the European system and started their first nursery schools. Notable of this is Nakasero Nursery School that was established in 1948. Now, much of early childhood remained unsupervised for many years until in 2008 when an early childhood development policy was put in place. This policy proposed that the initiation and implementation of ECD programs in Uganda shall remain the responsibility of the private sector. The government's role would be the development, dissemination of policy guidelines, development of the curriculum for the ECD centers, and also take up the ECD teacher education. The government pledged to fund assessment and qualification framework of these stakeholders, to carry on advocacy, community mobilization, monitoring, evaluation, and research for quality assurance. That is where the government placed itself, but decided that this early childhood shall be run by the private sector. Therefore, the National Curriculum Development Center was given the mandate to develop the learning framework for early childhood, and also they developed the Caregiver's Guide. This learning framework was translated into Kiswahili, and about 16 local languages that included Runyankore Rukiga, Runyoro Rutoro, Arul, Achori, Karimajong, Ateso Lango, and many more languages. Now let's take some time and digest the quality of ECD in Uganda. It is unfortunate that the quality of early childhood development is still below standard. One, we have limited infrastructure. You'll find early childhood development centers that really are not fit to house the children. The qualifications of those that are teaching in early childhood is also wanting. Currently, we have early childhood development teachers whose grades are good. But in the past, you'd find those that were opting for early childhood development to be those with poor scores. The average salary pay of teachers in this sector of education is still very wanting. Talk about the learning materials. Remember, young ones at this stage are learning through play, but the materials are limited. Inspection and supervision of these centers, the inspectors are few, the ECD centers are very many. And then financing of this sector is very, very wanting. The government should do more. Now, I did mention we have early childhood advocates of ECD. So in this picture, you see that lady. That is a lady to remember. That lady is called Montessori. Montessori developed a unique system of early childhood education, and that system is now named as the Montessori system, which has been used effectively with mentally retarded, physically handicapped, normal, and gifted children. Montessori developed a series of standard materials that were used within those centers. Montessori, she stressed observation, experimentation, and other scientific methods in teaching. She broke away from the traditional methods. Yes, she brought about a scientific approach to education. Children were asked further to make their own choices within the classes. We can summarize the contributions of this lady as: 1. Designed classrooms to suit the needs of the children and their level. She designed children's learning materials which were suitable for the different ability levels, and she ensured that all these materials she gave to the children were graded and arranged according to the different levels of difficulty. Furthermore, this famous lady designed teaching procedures for children with special needs. She developed what is called the game of silence, something close to meditation, where each child would start a day with a sense of peace and focus. Montessori felt that a teacher should never be an obstacle between the child and the learning experience. She went further to develop children-sized furniture and materials to be used within the class. Currently, we have 4 planes of development based on the Montessori approach. If you look up here, we have the infancy 0 to 6 years, we have childhood, which is 6 to 12, we have adolescence, which is 12 to 18, and maturity 18 to 24. Our area of focus is the infancy 0 to 6 years. He defined that 0 to 3 years are the absorbent mind, and then 3 to 6 were called the absorbent mind or the conscience. The other ones were the subconscious, and these were the conscious. Now, in this phase, the trending word is help me do it myself. In other words, physical and biological independence is emphasized. The young ones are encouraged to explore the environment through their senses. What is the key? What is this? In the 6 to 12 years, we now move into intellectual independence. The little ones are exploring ideas and information. Why is this so? How is this so? And it goes on. The next the fellow that contributed significantly to early childhood development was Friedrich Froebel. This gentleman, Froebel, was born on the 21st of April, 1782. He is regarded as the founder of the kindergarten. What were the major contributions of Froebel to early childhood development? He said that education should develop good morals and spiritual well-being of a man. He therefore encouraged the creation of education environments that involved practical work and the direct use of resources. He developed what he called special materials, gifts that comprised of shaped wooden bricks and bowls. He emphasized the importance of plain teaching and that children should be provided toys. He encouraged children to do manual work of the right level. And then he trained the first batch of ECD teachers to handle his kindergarten. Those were the major fellows that contributed to early childhood development around the world. Let's dive into what we call children rights and responsibilities. Children rights and responsibilities. This will be my third video to this effect. Have a good day.